Kia ora, brothers and sisters. Today is the 7th of December 2020, and the reason I've greeted you with the Maori word kia ora is that this particular set of visions and words is specifically for the people of New Zealand, and the Lord has called this a pre-warning, and I have been instructed to share it, so here I am. But brothers and sisters, before you turn off the video, I believe it is totally relevant for any nation of the world. And the Lord is stressing the importance of looking after what He's given us in the way of food sources, of nature, of the environment. And I was blown away by this set of words and visions because it was so unexpected and something that just wouldn't come from me. So, brothers and sisters, the first vision was of a glass of water, and it only had a small amount of water, even less than you see in this glass, just in the bottom. And also in the vision was the tip, the very tip of a wheat head. This is the second time the Lord has used wheat in the last couple of weeks to speak to me. And I believe now that I see the full concept of the visions and words that I received that night, that this vision possibly means, and I am open to your interpretations as well, but the Lord may be indicating water shortages and food shortages. He showed me a little bit of water in the glass and just a tiny tip of a wheat head. But let's go on so that you will understand exactly why I've come to this understanding. But first I want to read some scriptures from Genesis, just a few verses, Genesis 1, because it just shows us how important it is that we look after what God has made. This is Genesis 1, starting at verse 28, and the first part of that verse right at the top there is have many children so that your descendants will live all over the earth and bring it under their control. I am putting you in charge of the fish, the birds, and all the wild animals. I have provided all kinds of grain, all kinds of fruit for you to eat. But for the wild animals and for all the birds, I have provided grass and leafy plants for food. And it was done. God looked at everything He had made, and He was very pleased. And that was the evening of the 6th day of creation, everyone. Now the next vision was of a kiwi, everyone. Now kiwi is the symbol of New Zealand. It is a flightless bird. It is fairly rare, and it's nocturnal. I saw the kiwi, but this time the unusual thing about it was that it was white, completely white, and I think it was actually shown to me in sort of like a porcelain. So it was a white kiwi, and all over it were little symbols that I believe represented the European, we call it Kiwiana, things that are ultimately European in nature, just tiny little symbols on it. But the really important part was that it was a white kiwi, and I believe this represents the people of New Zealand that were the European tribes that came to New Zealand early on. And the Maori actually have a word for these people. So this is it. The Maori word is Pākehā, and it, as you see there, the definition is the white New Zealander as opposed to a Maori person. Now the next word that I received straight after that was diapers. Now usually I would use the word nappy. That's the word that we tend to use here in New Zealand, but diapers means a nappy. And I believe the Lord gave me that word to say that we are immature in our concept of looking after the environment. Wow. And I must say that there are a lot of European people and Maori people that do really care about the environment, but I think perhaps the New Zealand European people have got a long way to go. The Maori actually have a word specifically in their language that is about this concept. So I'm just going to bring that word to you too. And this is the word, brothers and sisters. Please excuse my pronunciation of this, but it's something like kaitiaki tanga. and it means guardianship and protection. It is a way of managing the environment based on the Maori world view. Kaitiaki is a guardian. This can be a person or a group that cares for an area such as a lake or forest. Now this is a painting by a very famous artist called Charles Goldie. And the reason I'm showing you this is the next word I received, I heard a Maori man because I recognised the accent, and he said some words in Maori, but brothers and sisters, I don't even know how it's spelt or what it means. I've really tried to understand it, but I'm only guessing, so I'm not going to even bring you an interpretation. I think the important thing is that the Lord wanted to represent this people's in the message. So I heard the Maori word and it sounded like something like this: ho horiro, horiro, or ho horiro. And I'm sorry about that, but I just wrote it down on my piece of paper beside my bed at night, and that's what it sounded like when I heard it. Now, brothers and sisters, then I got the warning from the Lord. And this is the warning the Lord gave me. He said, pre-warn them. He wants me to pre-warn the people of New Zealand that they are not preserving nature's goodness. And we go back to the beginning of the vision with the little bit of water in the glass and the tiny tip of a husk of wheat. Does that show the lack of plenty? Is this the calm before the storm, where there will be food shortages and water shortages? This is my understanding of what this message may mean. But that's not all I received. I then heard another statement from the Lord. He said, I sent them both. I was blown away by this. So the indigenous people, the Maori people, the Lord is saying, I sent them. But he's also saying, I sent the Europeans as well. Isn't that amazing? He appointed the peoples to this nation. He sees which people will be immigrating or being sent to each country of the world. He is in charge. Basically, that's what it is, isn't it, brothers and sisters? He is in charge of the movements of the people around the world. And he is saying, I sent both Pākehā and Māori, or I should say it the other way round, because the Māori arrived first and the Pākehā later. But he sent them both to this nation, and they are both responsible for looking after the environment, for looking after what the Lord has provided for us that's going to sustain us over the years and over the centuries. So everyone, I'll end this video at that. I just felt the sense of responsibility to bring this pre-warning. And it's interesting that just in the last year or so, there has been a lot of water sources being drained from our natural aquifers under the ground. And we have been selling water to China, bottling it up into plastic bottles and selling it overseas because we have very clean and pure water underground. But we are draining thousands and thousands of litres daily from those aquifers and selling that water overseas. Is this one of the reasons the Lord is warning us about the shortage of water? And if we don't have water, how can we water the crops? How can we provide food for our nation? Now that's just one of many warnings that are coming up about the environment in recent years. And in your countries, you will have the same things happening. Well, there's a lot more people in this world than there was in times past, and we have to be able to provide food for all of the people of all nations. So this is a pre-warning from the Lord that we must start looking after what he has given and going back to those verses in Genesis. Now, brothers and sisters, just on a note, I am not a real greenie. Um, I love the world that the Lord has given me, and I just praise Him daily for our garden and nature. I love nature. Of course, we all, or most of us, really appreciate what the Lord has given us, but I've never been one for being a real activist um, in this whole environmental challenge that's before us. And I just think it's a bit of a shake up for me and for everyone here in New Zealand that perhaps we should be a little bit more careful with our environment and all get involved in looking after it. So, brothers and sisters, bye for now. Just being obedient to the Lord and bringing this message.